Microsoft Teams has now become where and how we work. Teams is so much more than simply sending messages to colleagues. It's truly a one-stop hub for all business communications. From messages to file sharing with no limits, to collaboration, video calls, and team meetings, now even phone calls can be made and received from anywhere on any device using Microsoft Teams. Let's take a look at a day in the life of a Microsoft Teams user. Meet Jim and Mark, two employees who work at an organization that uses Teams as their communication hub. When Jim starts his day, he makes sure to log into Teams and change his status so everyone knows he's available. He also turns on his call queue to receive the appropriate inbound calls. Next, he checks his calendar to see what his schedule looks like for the day. His Teams calendar is automatically synced with his Outlook calendar, so he can be sure he's not missing anything. It looks like he has a meeting coming up about a project he's been working on with Mark. In preparation for the meeting, Jim replies to an earlier message sent by Mark. And Mark replies. Jim uploads the document he's been working on and sends it to Mark. After reviewing it, he sends Jim a message asking him to collaborate with him on some changes. Jim then calls Mark right from the chat. When Mark answers, he can share his screen and walk Jim through the updates he's made. Jim notices a change he'd like to make, so he opens the document and is able to update it right within Teams. Since his changes are saved in real time, Mark can see them instantly. When they are finished, Jim ends the call and closes the document. At the meeting time, Jim is able to join from the event in his calendar. Since this is an important meeting, Jim would like to record it for reference later. During the meeting, he can share his screen and walk the team through the document he and Mark collaborated on earlier. After the meeting is over, Mark sends the document to the rest of the team in the Teams section. From there, it's instantly shared with everyone so they can all work on it together. Jim receives a notification that someone on his team has shared a new file. Since his organization uses Teams as their business phone system, Jim receives a phone call. Because of the unique ringtone, he knows it's a call to his direct line. After he answers, Jim decides to record the call. It looks like it might be necessary to get Mark's input, so Jim adds him to the call. It's about time to leave for his next appointment. So he transfers the call to his cell phone and changes his status to away. Because he's away from his desk, they agree another meeting is needed. So Jim opens the Teams app on his phone, adds a new calendar entry, and invites the others. Since his appointment took a little longer than expected, Jim joins his next meeting from the Teams mobile app. When he gets back to his desk, he seamlessly joins the meeting on his computer and is able to continue. As a result of the meeting, Jim wants to follow up with someone outside the organization, so he calls their direct number. As he's ending the call, the person asks to follow up with Mark, so Jim sends him a message to see if he's available and transfers the call to him. While Mark is on the call, Jim is asked an important question in his chat and needs his input quickly. Because of the red dot next to his name, he can see Mark is still on the phone, so he sends him an urgent message. With this type of message, Mark will be notified periodically until he looks at it, so Jim knows he won't miss it. As he settles back in, Jim checks to see his team's progress on the file shared earlier. Since Teams can act as a repository, files can be stored where everyone on his team has access, so he can quickly find the file he's looking for and open it. To make collaboration and version control easy, you can open up any number of supported apps right within Teams. Some of the most common are the Office apps, such as Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, for example. He makes a couple of changes which are saved automatically and shared in real time. While working on a project, Jim has a quick IT question, so he decides to call TCA. He quickly Googles TCA SynerTech and clicks on the number to automatically call it with Teams. After TCA resolves his issue, he needs to call a company with an alphanumeric phone number. So he types in the phone number using his keyboard, and Teams automatically translates it into the corresponding numbers. Jim hears his call transfer ringtone, which means someone in the organization is transferring a call to him. He can also see who transferred the call from the pop-up on his screen. He can answer the call directly from his computer, the Teams mobile app, or his desktop phone. After the call, he decides to save the person's phone number in his speed dial because he may need to make frequent calls to them during the project. The newly created speed dial shows up on the right side of the screen, so they're easy to call later. While looking at his calls section, Jim can easily see his history, filter the calls he missed while he was away, and see his voicemails transcribed or listen to them. He sees a voicemail he'd like to follow up on and can call them with one click. A little later, he receives a call from one of the queues. He can quickly tell where the call came from by the pop-up on his screen. At the end of the day, Jim turns off his call queue and changes his status so everyone will know he's away and phone calls will be routed to his voicemail. The seamless transition between devices, combined with a powerful ability to collaborate, communicate, share files, and make and receive phone calls, makes Microsoft Teams essential in today's hybrid work environment. Visit tcasynertech.com or call 269-428-7000 for more information about how you can effectively use Microsoft Teams to boost productivity at your organization.